Soon after we purchased this rig and had it out on the road in wet conditions, it was pretty obvious that we wanted to get some kind of splash guards. These are genuine GM accessories. These are the rear molded splash guards in black with the GMC logo. I really like the look of them, and that's why we chose them. It will be pretty much a bolt-on kit here, really simple, but they look nice, and we'll get them put together. These are the rear molded splash guards in black with GMC logo, part number 84944-135. We are installing the rear splash guards molded in black with GMC logo, genuine GMC accessory. Doing this on the back of a 2023 GMC Canyon AT4X Edition 1. This really was a platform that we wanted for this, this little project. So to do this, unfortunately with GMC, genuine GMC accessories, most of them do not come with any kind of assembly instructions. I assume that they want these things installed at the dealer, and the dealer has that online. And you could probably find it online if you wanted. That said, the splash guards themselves come with a hardware package. If you divide that between each side, you end up with 4 panhead screws, a washer, 2 retainer clips that these screws will go into, one of which has a tab inside, one doesn't, and an additional pop rivet. I've chosen not to use the pop rivet, and as I go through this you'll see why. A couple of items that I would suggest you have on hand are a T15 Torx head bit, an angle attachment for your drill driver, a small, maybe 1/4 inch ratchet with an attachment to fit your T15 Torx, and a headlamp. First thing that I'm going to do, and have a creeper. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the screws that are holding the fender well liner in, and then we're going to take this splash guard, we're going to put it in place, and then we're going to drill any additional holes that are necessary. The original screws that are in here will fit 2 of these holes. We have 2 other holes that we're going to be drilling out, one here and one here. The top one, I assume, was originally intended for that pop rivet because it's going into nothing but plastic there. I found some success using these. It seems to be holding fine. If it starts backing out, I'll over drill the hole and put that pop rivet in, and then the final screw goes up underneath with the retainer. I'm going to go ahead and take these out, disassemble this thing, and then I'll show you the rest. So now that I've removed the 3 original pan heads, what I'm going to do is I'm kind of going to dry fit this in. I'm going to put it on so I can drill my holes and I can get them all correctly positioned, and then I'm going to pull this back off and add some clips. So as you can see, this thing does fit really nicely up in there. I found the most success going ahead and sticking my first screw through there, and getting it started. Once you find the retainers, it's pretty easy. We're just going to sucker down a little bit. I'm not going to get too crazy. This way I can make sure I'm nice and tight where I want to be. Okay. Now what I've found is I want to get in there. I want this to be just as tight as I possibly can. So I really want to push that up in there a ways before I get drilling. And this one we're going to have to use our angle. I don't mind sticking that one in too, actually. That way everything's right where it's supposed to be. Now I know this third one's going to be right where I want it. Okay. Now coming around here underneath, as I drill this hole, I want to make sure that this baby's just as snug and tight and right where I want it to be. I'm going to go ahead and pull that back a little bit and make sure when we get it in there it's going to hold that fast. No problem. All right. Now that you've got all your holes drilled and placed where they're supposed to be, we've got a clip that we got to put in here, but in order to do that we're going to have to fold this fender well liner back, and you can't get there with this in the way. So you know, fortunately actually what this molded splash guard ends up doing inadvertently is covering up a hole that would have normally probably got a lot of mud packed up in there, so I'm pretty happy about that. So here's where your clip comes in to play. I'm gonna go ahead and stick on my headlamp so you can, and hopefully, I don't even know if I can headlamp it and see it at the same time, but in order to show you where this happens, I'm going to stick this in. So way up inside, you can see that drill bit sticking through there. You see the tab. So it's really hard to get the light in there. But you can see that there's a metal tab. That's where I'm going to put this retainer. In order to get there, I've got to fold this get my light where you can actually see something. It's pretty difficult. I'm going to have to fold this back in order to get up in there. Okay, so you can see that tab now where I've installed it right on that metal tab. Really hard to see, but you see I had to fold this back a little ways in order to get that, and in order to do that you have to remove that upper pan head. Now you can go back together with everything. All right, so we're getting ready to install genuine GMC accessories, part number 849443131. That's 849443131. Genuine GMC accessories here. Black molded plastic front splash guards. They look fantastic. We decided to go with these because they have such a nice factory finish. The front set's about $75, the rear set's about $75, but they really do a nice job, so we're going to get these things stuck on. So here we are on the passenger side. I've opened up the hardware kit and split them between the two tires, or between the two sides. Here's your splash guard. They give you 3 pan head screws and only 1 additional black washer. And I think I know why. You have 2 retainer clips, a push pin retainer, and your pop rivet, which I don't think you'll use. Now, after just looking at this a little bit, your splash guard essentially has 1, 2, 3, 4 attachment points through here, and then of course you've got 1 more attachment point here. So as I kind of dry fit this in place, you'll notice that there's really only 1 screw that needs taken out. The rest of them are going to be up in this area, likely are going to require these retainers. And then I'm not sure, we're missing a little bit. I think they assume that up in here you're going to use that pop rivet. Underneath, unfortunately, where this bottom tab's located, there's one of these little pins up in there, and unless you have a tool like this, it's going to be hard to get out. This one popped right out. I don't know why, but that's what the push pin's for, and that's going to hold all that up in there, and that's a good thing. So this one should be relatively simple, I hope. Original screw will go right in. Now remember, when you do go to drill these things, you want that seated right where it's supposed to be. You need to make sure that your clip's inside. Everything's mounted right where it ought to be. We'll save that because you'll use it, and that'll account for all of the hardware. Now I need to figure out where all my holes went. I got one right here in the fender well liner, another one right in the fender well liner. One up here, that's never going to go into anything. So, question and challenge. How do you get your tabs up in there? That's the real question. Alright, so what I've done is I've gone up inside the fender well liner, and I've removed a couple more screws so I can have just a little, I can flex this felt liner a little bit. And now if you take a look right down in here, right down in there, there's a couple of nice little tabs. See those tabs? That's what these things are going to go in. So you want the nipple to go back. You're going to clip them right up over those, just like that. Clip this back in there. Make sure you got it going the right direction, because there's son of a gun to get back off. As you can see, I'm just going to fashion that right over the top of there. Get it right in the center. Doesn't really matter what happens there like that. Then you just want to make sure and get your fender well liner back in place just the way it's supposed to be. And it's going to take just a little bit of finesse. You don't want it to be wadded up real bad, because that'll let mud back down in there. There, we got it. Now, it all goes back together real nice. And all we got to do is put these screws back in here in the fender well. Not terribly easy to get to, but that one's not bad. We can do that pretty easily. Nice and snug. Grab another. That one goes back in there a ways, and you could probably get your drill driver on that if you had your tires straightened out, which I don't. But take longer to get in the driver's seat, change that, than it does just to use a ratchet wrench. Good old-fashioned ratchet wrench. Get her snug. Ratchet on her. And that'll do. That'll do the trick. Alright. Now let's just put her on. Pretty simple. Once you get her positioned, you want to put the original back in. Oops. That snugs in real nice. Now, I'm a little perplexed that they didn't send more of the black washers, and I really would have liked to have seen that. Not that it's absolutely necessary, but I would have liked to have seen it, and I may add them down the road. Go find me some black washers. That thing's just going into plastic, that's it. But these others will go into those clips once they find them, and they're going to snug down nice and tight. Now that I'm into it, and I'm just going to make sure that that's pushed in right where I want it. And there she is. Now, getting this push pin up in there might be a challenge. But if it is too much of a challenge, I went down to Napa. By golly, I wish I would have drilled that out a little more. I might be able to still from here. So, this push pin, I believe, was made for that hole, because that's where a push pin came out of. And it seems a little large. I've got a couple that I went down to Napa and got. Alright. So the factory push pin that they gave you had a pretty good sized cap on there, and I struggled and struggled and struggled, and everybody online struggled trying to get it up to that hole. So I've trimmed up the end of this and sharpened it up on my bench grinder a little bit. I don't know if that's the exact answer, but it's gonna have to work. Everything about that push pin's tighter than any tolerance that they've given, but this time it seems to be wanting to go, and it seems to be a little long. I don't understand. It's good. So we're finally finished installing the plastic molded splash guards on the back and on the front. We've got the additional side assist steps on the rock rails, and I couldn't be more happy. I have to say that some of it was a little more technical than I thought, just a bit of a hassle. Not more technical, but it wasn't as easy as I thought on the front. The rear went on pretty easily. I really like the fit and finish is extraordinary. It looks super good. You can really tell from the side profile that that's going to help a bunch, keep this thing a lot cleaner, keep from damaging the paint, and I think we're ready to go. It's great addition. I think it was worth the time and effort and the money. Not sure exactly why GMC didn't just put those things on as a standard fitment on this rig, but it's on now. Happy as a clam.